Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into just one source, but it's a meaty one. It's an article from Techshift by Jay Tillotson.
That's right. It came out April 12th, 2025, and it's called 10 AI Tools for Big Productivity Gains in 2025.
And Tillotson really sets an interesting stage right away, doesn't he?
He does. He argues that, in 2025, productivity, it's shifting. It's not just about working faster anymore.
It's about working smarter.
Yeah.
That's the key phrase.
Exactly. And AI tools, they're moving from being maybe nice-to-haves, novelties, to actually being necessities for companies that want to stay competitive.
But, and this is crucial, the article stresses it's not just grabbing any AI tool off the shelf.
No, not at all. It's about being strategic, picking the right tools for the right teams. That's how you unlock real, tangible value for the business.
So our mission today is to unpack this article. We'll look at the specific tools he calls out, but maybe just as importantly.
Yeah, the organizational stuff. What actually makes AI adoption work? What separates the companies getting huge benefits from those kind of spinning their wheels?
Okay, let's dive in. So, this core idea, productivity redefined, smarter work, strategic selection. Why is that faster versus smarter distinction so critical right now?
Well, because faster can sometimes just mean, automating a bad process or just giving people more stuff to deal with faster.
More noise.
Yeah. Smarter is about fundamentally changing how the work gets done, using AI for things humans maybe aren't great at or can't do at scale, like finding patterns in huge data sets or predicting outcomes or making institutional knowledge actually usable.
That's where the real enterprise value comes in.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
And this article gives us 10 concrete examples.
Let's just walk through them. Tool number 1.
He starts with ChatGPT 4.0. Calls it the cross-functional collaborator.
Which makes sense. It's known for being pretty versatile. What capabilities does the article highlight specifically?
Well, the basics are there. Generating code, technical docs, customer responses, that kind of thing. But the cross-functional piece seems key. It integrates deeply with tools people already use, Jira, Salesforce, SAP.
So it pulls context from those systems.
Exactly, and it can act on that context. The article even mentions customizable no-code workflows.
Okay, so what's the strategic value? How does this help a team actually work smarter?
It's really about eliminating those repetitive, time-consuming tasks. The example given is ticket triage in, say, customer support or IT.
Yeah. That can eat up a lot of time.
Right. The article claims it can save over 15 hours per agent per week just by automating that initial sort and maybe drafting a first response.
15 hours, that's huge. But with human oversight still.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Keeps humans in the loop for the complex stuff, but it handles the volume.
Is there a specific use case mentioned?
Yes, a telecom company. They used it to auto-generate network outage reports.
Okay.
That apparently reduced the manual reporting work in their network operations center by 70%.
70, wow. Okay, that's a clear, smarter, not just faster example, freeing up skilled people.
Precisely. So moving from that broad collaborator, tool number 2 is Claude 3, positioned as the ethical analyst.
Ethical analyst, what's its core strength?
Handling really large documents, but with a big focus on accuracy and responsible AI use. We're talking analyzing texts over 150,000 tokens.
That's massive.
And crucially, it can trace citations, so you can verify where the information came from within that huge document.
Okay, that's important for trust.
Yeah.
And sensitive data.
Yeah, big feature there. It can redact sensitive information automatically, think GDPR, IPA compliance. That's critical for regulated fields.
And it checks the logic, too.
It does. It can flag logical inconsistencies in arguments or proposals, kind of like a superpowered proofreader for reasoning.
So for an organization, the value proposition is?
Mainly risk reduction and speed in review processes. The article says it can slash legal review cycles from weeks down to just days.
Weeks to days. That's a major impact.
Huge. And it minimizes that regulatory risk exposure.
The biotech example sounds pretty compelling, too.
It really is. Auditing over 20,000 clinical trial records, Claude 3 found 12 critical compliance gaps.
Gaps that humans had missed.
Apparently so. Which highlights that it's not just faster, it's enabling a depth of analysis, a level of cross-referencing that's just really hard for people to do consistently at that scale. Directly impacts safety and risk.
Absolutely. Okay, so from deep analysis, we shift to organizational knowledge with Notion AI Q&A, the institutional memory engine.
Yeah, I like that framing.
Who's the target audience here?
It seems pretty broad, actually. Basically, any team that relies on shared knowledge documentation,
Okay.
especially if they're already using Notion. So HR, sales, product teams.
How does it function as this memory engine?
Well, it searches across your Notion workspace, obviously.
Yeah.
But it also connects to other platforms. People use Confluence, SharePoint, even Slack.
So it breaks down those information silos.
Exactly. It synthesizes information from all those different places. The article mentions it can auto-generate things like onboarding playbooks.
Pulling from various docs.
Right. Or create competitive battle cards by finding intel buried in meeting notes or Slack messages.
And it spots knowledge gaps. How?
Presumably by seeing what questions get asked repeatedly or where documentation seems thin.
Interesting. And the benefit, the strategic value.
A big cut in new higher ramp-up time. The article cites 40%.
40% faster onboarding, that's significant.
And just reducing duplicate work overall because people can actually find the information that already exists.
The consultancy example is a good illustration of that, right? Reducing proposal time by half.
Yeah, just by making it easy to find and adapt relevant past proposals, pricing models, stuff that was already created but maybe hard to locate quickly, turns dormant data into active productivity.
Makes sense. Okay, next up, getting intelligence from conversations. Otter.ai, the meeting intelligence hub.
This one feels very relevant for, well, almost everyone these days with remote and hybrid work.
Definitely. Executive sales, remote teams.
Its core job is the searchable meeting transcript with speaker identification. We've seen that.
But it goes beyond just the text, right?
Yes. It extracts key stuff automatically. Decisions made, risks flagged, action items. And it can push those directly into project management tools like Asana or Trello.
Okay, that closes the loop nicely.
And interestingly, the article mentions it can highlight shifts in emotional tone during the meeting.
Whoa. Analyzing the vibe of the meeting, not just the words.
Kind of, yeah. Analyzing the how, not just the what.
What's the strategic upside there?
Alignment. Especially in hybrid settings where people might miss nonverbal cues, it helps ensure everyone's on the same page. Plus, it creates that verifiable record.
And the VC example, using it to analyze partner meetings.
Yeah, that was interesting. Using it to understand the dynamic in their own internal meetings, which apparently improved how quickly they resolved conflicts by 65%.
So using AI to literally improve team collaboration itself. Fascinating.
Okay, sticking with communication, but narrowing the focus. Fireflies.ai, the sales execution partner.
Clearly aimed at sales teams, sales leaders, customer success.
Absolutely. It's all about analyzing sales calls and conversations.
How does it boost execution?
Well, by analyzing patterns in those calls. It claims to predict things like deal health or maybe churn risk based on what's being said and how.
Predictive analysis on sales calls.
Okay. It also auto-generates follow-up emails, potentially personalized based on the call content. And it integrates with tools like Gong or Outreach.
So it feeds insights back into the CRM or sales engagement platform.
Right. To help refine sales playbooks based on what's actually resonating or working in live conversations.
So the strategic value is pretty direct, then impacting the bottom line.
Exactly. The article mentions increasing win rates by 25% through things like better coaching insights, more pipeline visibility.
And the SaaS company use case,
Right.
reducing sales cycle time.
By 30%, yeah. They used AI-generated objection handling scripts that Fireflies created by analyzing successful calls.
So it's taking that tribal knowledge from top performers and making it accessible and actionable for the whole team.
That's the idea, turning conversation data into performance improvement.
Oh. Okay, let's shift gears now. Away from communication towards operations, motion, the operational efficiency architect.
This one sounds like it's for the folks managing the nuts and bolts, operations managers, IT, engineering leads.
What's its core capability?
Optimizing resource allocation. Using algorithms to figure out the best way to assign people, equipment, time, factoring in constraints.
Does it help with planning and scheduling?
Definitely. It can run what-if simulations for capacity planning, and it automatically reschedules tasks when things inevitably change, priorities shift, delays happen.
We've all been there. What's the big picture value it brings?
The main strategic value cited is cutting project overruns by 45%, according to the article.
25% reduction in overruns. That's huge.
And just generally improving bandwidth utilization, making sure resources aren't sitting idle or overloaded.
The manufacturing example really drives that home, eliminating $1.2 million in overtime.
Yeah, simply by using motion to better balance their maintenance schedules against production demands. That's a really tangible ROI from smarter scheduling.
Absolutely. Okay, next, a tool focusing on the human side of productivity. Reclaim.ai, the workforce sustainability guardian.
This feels incredibly relevant right now, doesn't it? Burnout, work-life balance,
Totally. Who's it designed for?
HR leaders, department heads, but also maybe especially individual employees feeling stretched thin. It's about protecting time and energy.
How does it actually do that?
It automatically blocks out focus time in your calendar, but it tries to be smart about it considering your workload, deadlines, even potentially your circadian rhythms if you let it.
Wow, dynamic focused time blocking.
Yeah. And it analyzes your calendar patterns to look for signs of potential burnout, like too many back-to-back meetings, not enough breaks. It can even sync with wellness apps to nudge you to take a breather.
The strategic value here seems less about speed and more about resilience, organizational health.
Exactly. It's long-term thinking. The article claims it can reduce voluntary attrition by 30% in those high-stress roles.
30% less turnover.
Yeah.
It's a massive cost saving and keeps talent in-house.
Right. It recognizes that you can't have sustained productivity without sustainable work habits.
And the law firm example really highlights that systemic view.
It does. A 22% drop in associate turnover because Reclaim helped identify teams consistently working crazy hours, like over 60 hours a week.
So it provided the data for leadership to step in and rebalance workloads.
Precisely. It's not just calendar management. It's surfacing data to fix underlying problems before people quit.
Very powerful. Okay, shifting back to communication, but focusing on consistency. Grammarly Enterprise, the communication consistency enforcer.
This one's crucial for anyone creating external-facing content.
Marketing, PR, customer support, yeah.
His main job is ensuring brand voice consistency, which is tough when you have potentially hundreds of people writing emails, posts, articles.
How does it enforce that? Through style guides.
Yeah, it applies predefined style guides consistently across all that content creation.
Does it do more than just grammar and style?
Yes, the article points out it flags inclusivity issues looking for potentially biased language.
Oh, interesting. Proactive checking for that.
And it offers ESL coaching tailored for global teams, which is important for clear communication across borders.
So the strategic benefit for the company.
Faster global campaign rollouts because the messaging is standardized. And critically, reducing the risk of putting out off-brand or even problematic communications.
Right, protecting the brand image.
Hmm.
The luxury retailer example seems to underscore that risk mitigation piece.
Definitely. Maintaining their specific brand tone across 15 languages using these AI-style guides save them potentially over $500,000 in rebranding or correction costs.
It's brand equity protection at scale.
Exactly. Okay, almost there. Number 9 is Jasper, the Content Velocity Accelerator.
Sounds like it's built for marketing teams needing to scale content.
Dead on. Content marketers, SEO specialists, social media managers. Its core function is speeding up content creation drafts, ideas.
What kinds of content?
The article mentions generating blog post outlines that are already keyword optimized.
Nice.
And repurposing content, like taking a webinar transcript and quickly spinning it into LinkedIn posts or TikTok video scripts. It also A/B tests email subject lines for better open rates.
So the value is just more content faster.
Pretty much, but ideally without sacrificing quality. The strategic value is framed as tripling content output. That's what the article claims, which in turn drives more organic traffic and leads.
The e-commerce example is pretty striking.
Yeah.
50 blog posts a month to 300.
Yeah, using Jasper. And that apparently led to a 200% increase in leads within 6 months.
That's scaling a core marketing engine exponentially, not just faster typing.
Right. It's enabling a different scale of operation.
Okay, finally, number 10. Cisco AI Assistant for WebEx, positioned as the collaboration equalizer.
This seems aimed squarely at the challenges of distributed and global teams.
Makes sense. Remote, hybrid, international projects.
Its headline feature is real-time meeting translation. Over 40 languages.
Instantly removing language barriers in meetings. That's huge.
Massive. And it generates summaries, too.
Yes, executive summaries. The article even notes it can highlight potential revenue impacts discussed in the meeting.
Wow. And it integrates with IT systems, like ServiceNow. It can automatically create IT support tickets based on problems discussed during a call.
So the strategic value is about bridging those gaps, language, location.
Exactly. Closing the experience gap between people in the office and remote folks, making sure everyone has the same information, can participate equally, fostering more inclusive innovation.
The tech giant example seemed to prove that point, reducing miscommunication errors by 55%.
Yeah, across 10 global R&D hubs, just by using the AI meeting digests for clarity and alignment, that's a direct hit on a major pain point in global collaboration.
Okay, so that's the 10 tools, each tackling a different aspect of work, aiming for smarter productivity. But, as you mentioned earlier, the article pivots here.
Right. It strongly argues that just buying licenses for these tools, that's step one, maybe. It's not the whole game.
Getting that truly transformative value, the kind that really moves the needle, depends on these other organizational factors.
Absolutely. This is where, according to the article, many companies get stuck. The value isn't just in the tool, it's unlocked by how the organization adopts it, integrates it, uses it.
So the article lays out these critical success factors: strategic, cultural, data, governance. Let's touch on a few key ones. Why do they matter so much, and what's an actionable takeaway for each?
Okay, first up, business alignment. Why is this so fundamental?
Seems obvious, but maybe easily missed.
Yeah, because without it, you're just deploying tech because it's cool, not because it solves a real problem. It matters because AI has to be tied to measurable business outcomes to justify the investment and effort.
And the actionable advice.
Map the AI tool directly to specific KPIs. Is Notion AI actually reducing the measured time new hires spend searching for info? Make that connection explicit.
Got it. Tie it to the metrics. What about executive and cross-functional buy-in? Why is that critical?
Because AI adoption isn't just an IT project. It requires resources. It often requires changing how different departments work together. It requires cultural shifts.
So you need leadership driving it.
Absolutely. Without buy-in from the top and across business units, these things tend to fizzle out or stay siloed. The actionable tip is to involve the C-suite and business leaders right from the start in the strategy phase. Make it a company priority.
Makes sense. And then there's the foundation: data quality, accessibility, and security.
Non-negotiable. You can't have smart tools running on bad data or inaccessible data or insecure data.
Garbage in, garbage out, basically.
Like worse than garbage out, potentially harmful or biased outputs. It matters because clean, accessible, secure data is the absolute bedrock. The actionable advice is blunt. Invest in data governance and privacy before you roll out the tools widely. Get your data house in order first.
Okay. What about the people using the tools? Upskilling and AI fluency?
Yeah, if your team doesn't know how to use these tools effectively, or worse, if they don't trust them,
They won't get used, or not properly.
exactly, the value just doesn't materialize. So it matters because human skill and comfort with AI dictates the actual results. Actionable steps include ongoing training, yes, but also maybe creating internal AI centers of excellence.
Like internal champions or support hubs.
Right, where power users can help others, share best practices, build that fluency across the organization.
Good idea. The article also emphasizes robust governance and responsible AI. Guardrails, essentially.
Definitely. As AI gets deeper into workflows, you need oversight. It matters for managing legal risks, reputational risks, and just ensuring the AI is used ethically and fairly.
What does that look like in practice?
Establishing clear guidelines, maybe setting up AI ethics committees, doing regular audits of how AI is being used and what its impact is. You need to actively manage it.
Okay. And finally, the article bundles continuous measurement and iteration with long-term investment and change management. This sounds like it's never done.
Pretty much. You can't just set it and forget it. Continuous measurement matters because you need to track if you're actually getting the value you expected against those KPIs we talked about.
And adjust if not.
Exactly. Identify what's working, what isn't, get user feedback, be willing to tweak things, maybe even stop using a tool if it's not delivering. And the long-term investment and change management piece matters because this is a journey.
Not a single project budget.
Right. It needs ongoing budget for the tech, sure, but also for the continuous training and for managing the human side of change, helping people adapt to new ways of working.
So putting it all together, the big takeaway from Tillotson's article seems to be, well, it's not really about the tools themselves, is it?
Not primarily. The tools are enablers, powerful ones, but achieving that big productivity leap in 2025, it's much more about building the right organizational culture, the right infrastructure, the right mindset. It's an intentional journey.
Which leads right into that critical question for decision makers he poses.
Yeah, it's a good one. Are your teams just using some AI tools here and there? Or are you actively building a culture where AI-driven productivity is something that's constantly measured, constantly improved, and scaled across the whole organization?
That really reframes it from adopting software to driving systemic change.
It does, and his final thought reinforces that urgency. He says in 2025, productivity isn't a personal nice-to-have, it's an organizational mandate.
Meaning,
Meaning the question isn't if you should adopt these kinds of tools anymore. The real question is how quickly and effectively you can integrate them to gain a genuine competitive advantage.
the time for dipping toes in the water is over. It's time to actually swim.
That seems to be the message.
So for you listening, think about these tools. Sure, ChatGPT, Claude, Otter, all of them work if they fit. But maybe spend more time on those success factors. Where does your team or your whole organization really stand on things like business alignment, data readiness, that culture of learning and iteration?
Are you just using tools, or are you really building that foundation to make AI work for you strategically?
Something to think about long after this deep dive ends.